Hey, welcome to the Runaways podcast. My name is Cody. Today I am joined, as always, by Dan. I also have two top eight, top four boys here from the PTI event this last weekend. We have Noah, who's first time on the show, I believe. And
Yep.
you got to be on stream. You got to beat Matt Rogers, which
Yeah,
is
twice.
twice,
hmm
which is pretty great. Um, how was your weekend overall?
It was a lot of fun. I played KO both Saturday and Sunday. So I got to experience some of the highs of rolling sixes and actually using all three action points. And actually, in my first game against Matt, I rolled a one and IP forward myself, but still won. So it's not all about the scabs and the gambling. But yeah, it was a lot of fun playing. I'm not usually a brute guy, so playing a different class for that many rounds was definitely interesting.
Yeah, ban scabs. Good idea. Even when it rolls a one,
Yeah,
it's not dangerous enough. Got it.
yeah,
You're a good
exactly. Yeah, the deck's just that
good
broken.
example of that. And then we have Connor back, also top eight in the PTI event that no one got to see. And I'm sure we'll hear that story a little later. But overall, Connor, how was your weekend?
It was good. I played some Azalea this weekend. Played her both days. I got smushed on Saturday, but I stuck to it. Played her on Sunday, and had a good time. Made top eight. I got smushed by Kano in the top eight in approximately 30 seconds. It felt like. And other than that, though, it was a fun weekend. I had a good time.
And Dan, you were a sad boy with me, not topping anything because we scrubby.
Yep.
Uh, what did you bring to the Battle Harden?
Yeah, so I brought Kasai. I was just kind of lazy and busy with like PT prep working on draft. So I didn't bother like updating decks or building decks. So I grabbed the two decks that were in my bag and I was like, I like playing Warrior. If I get the bad pairings, I get the bad pairings. And then I went 4-0 and I got the bad pairings and my run was over.
Yeah, that's about how that feels. I brought Dromai both
Yep.
times, and kind of got smushed by the same things. Like I got smushed in mirrors because that mirror is pain, and then I lost to Reinar. That was both of my losses on both of my days, which was not great. Um, but to be fair, I think I should lose all of my Dromai mirrors because I hadn't played any Dromai mirrors yet. It's like the last matchup I was working on. So Zoe ended up being my first person I ever played the Dromai mirror against, and she crushed me as she should. She has played that matchup way more times than I have. I will say also my other Dromai match, Ripple Away, is a monster of a card. Uh, and when you hit Rake and they just go Ripple, and you go, oh, I think I'm gonna scoop now. Like there's just like no point in playing the game anymore. So I that mirror needs probably a lot of work. It's a little bit scary now. Okay, before we go dive deeper into the Battle Hardened in the PTI event, we did have RTNs that happened this last weekend. And so now we have the total count of basically what won the most out over all of the RTN season. And surprise, surprise, number one is Dromai with 37 wins. What do we think? Is that expected? I know some people
I think so.
did a tier list at the beginning of the season and put Dromai pretty low. Uh, that has been rectified, but
Yeah, I saw that.
I was not on that tier list. To be fair,
Yeah, I
Likewise.
think Dromai is a very solid deck. If people are playing the list similar to what Guy was playing at Battle Harden, where it's trying to get four value out of every card, uh, plus you have the added free win con against some decks where they just can't deal with a established board. I think the deck is like in a pretty good position right now. So checks out that it won that much.
Yep. Powerful deck. Has really polarized matchups. Hard to play against. Seems good for an RTN.
yep.
And the Pro Tour even.
Yeah, I mean, I expect to see a bunch of Dromai at the Pro Tour for sure.
I think it's the most played deck now.
It's a good deck.
One or two.
And then we also have KO number two. I think this is also expected with 35, so basically the same amount of wins. I mean, Noah, you brought KO. Obviously, you think it's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Expected, right?
Yeah, surprisingly, I didn't pair into any mirrors out of like 17 rounds that I played, which is surprising considering there was a lot of chaos. And the mirror is kind of iffy, similar to like what you were saying with Draw My Mirror. I think it actually can reward having a lot of games played into it. So if the trend continues of a lot of chaos showing up and doing well, then I think it actually kind of bodes well for Pro Tour, given that like Draw My and KO are mirrors that are somewhat rewarded by having a lot of reps in the matchup.
I don't know if you felt it, but I felt there was not enough KOs at the Battle Hardened. And there were no top players, basically, except for Noah himself on KO at the entire Battle Hardened and like PTI event. And I just wonder.
I think Michael Fang was playing.
Yeah,
KO as well,
Fang was as well. Yep. Don't let me forget that one. But it was just like, are they hiding special KO lists? Is that what we think people are doing? Because like it just wasn't there.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw earlier today. Sam Dando put out a tweet about like a cast bones list KO. So maybe this is like he's exposing the secret that everyone's like, oh, actually cast bones is a trap and you shouldn't play it. Maybe that's like the thing everyone's trying to hide, and that's why they're not playing KO. But I don't know.
I just thought that was interesting. And then number 3, and this one's surprising to me, is Victor. He has 28 wins. Connor, what do we think about Victor having 28 wins?
I'm surprised, but I think also like I'm interested to see how often he was played. He definitely seems like a deck that a lot of people were excited to try and play. He also is really tough to play the first time. You're like, oh, I'll just present damage to him. I'll just put out a bunch of damage. It'll be fine. And then he like trounces you and test of strengths you a bunch, and you're like, how did I get no traction off all these good turns? And then you start running out of reds to play, and it kind of spirals out of control a little bit quickly. And you kind of have to find a really specific spot in the game to kind of really make your money against Victor. Like early on, you run into all all of his good defensive cards, and then late, your deck's getting kind of low, and he just blocks so well, and he has a lot of really good finishers. So I'm a little surprised he's this powerful in the format, but he, as a deck, structurally, he makes a lot of sense. So I think he's good. I think he's solid.
I just think he is kind of a one-trick pony. Like, just wait for his good cards to go away, and then he's like, his deck's bad. And like his like scariest move is like build your own crippling crush with like Terra Sunder on his like Golden Sun. That's like his big scary move. You're like, oh no, that's like really good. And it's not even.
There's a good amount playing Pulverize too.
Yeah, with Pulverize as well.
And like Pummels.
But I think I would love to see play numbers on him because I think it's probably really high at RTNs, which is probably.
Yeah, I'm surprised he won 28 games, let alone 28 tournaments.
I think once you're just patient with the deck, like you realize it has like really bad closing power, and then like once they run out of their good tricks, like you just wait the cards out, then like they have to play bad Guardian. Like they're not even playing good Guardian anymore because their cards all suck. So now they're just like, oh, I need 3 cards to throw 10 damage or 9 damage. And you're like, yeah, you can't play the game anymore. But deck is very fun, I think. And it was at least all the RTNs we went to, there was a lot of Victor as well. Okay, next is Katsu at 23. This is a deck almost no one's been talking about, but it's been sneaking in there. And I do not for a second believe that the play rate on this is very high. I mean, you agree? This one was a little surprising to me.
Yeah, surprising, scary.
I think everybody that showed up with Katsu is a bit of a Katsu master. The deck is kind of tricky to play, and you have to set up these. You have a couple of very specific sequences that are crazy powerful, and you want to set up all the way around those. And if you can do that, you can run people over, catch people by surprise. And he also is just kind of hard to play against with all the combat tricks that punish you a lot. So I definitely could see him being really powerful.
Yeah, if you look at the top 2 decks being Dromai and KO, right? KO doesn't really play any defensive cards, so he can prey on that. And then Dromai, you just farm the dragon. So if he matches up well into the top 2 decks, it makes sense he's doing okay.
Yeah, Katsu has been one of the scariest decks to me since I started playing the game, back before Monarch came out. Like even on like Chain, I was like, man, I hate this matchup. Every deck I've ever played, I just hate the Katsu matchup. I'll play Bravo and still be like, I hate this matchup. It's just like, it always feels like they're always like one gotcha away from just immediately winning the game. And it's even crazier now when they're playing like Pouncing Links instead of Mask Momentum. I mean, I lost to 2 of them as Isolator at Worlds. Like notoriously my luck into Katsu is just like really bad. And they always scare me every time they sit across from me.
Yeah, definitely never a matchup you can count out.
No.
Like you always have to be have a plan for it, and have a plan for like all their equipment getting value. Like you said, with the Pouncing Links and the arms, both of those are probably going to equal like 4 or 5 value out of the course of the game. You just have to kind of live with it.
And you can play the whole matchup like perfect. And then you'll always get in this one spot in the game where you're like, well, I have to perfect block this. So if they got the thing, I'm in trouble. If they don't have the thing, I win the game. And then you're just like, do you have thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And then next is really bad. It's Kano at 23 wins as well. That is a lot of wins. And I'm going to guess that play rate is not nearly as high as Victor, KO, or Dromai. It might be similar to Katsu or a little higher. I think it's probably a little higher than Katsu. Just from feeling out what do we think, but Kano is a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have thought
yeah,
losing less in week 2 doesn't kind of signify how strong the deck is.
Yeah. I got exploded in my top 4 against Kano. It was like, I don't think I did anything wrong, but when the game only goes 3 turns, there's only like so many decisions that you can make.
But you were playing the deck that beats it, right? So
yeah, in theory, right? I had 2 chances to discard a Beast Within, but luck was not on my side in that matchup, so didn't get there. It's kind of like he flips off the top and I flip random cards out of my hand. We're both just gambling and hoping for the best, and yeah, his gambles worked out better.
Yeah, because even when you're good in the Kano, you're not good in the Kano.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have 4 equipment that I basically only played just for Kano. I was like, all right, I'm giving this matchup as much respect as possible. And sometimes it just doesn't matter.
Someone else had another problem with Kano.
Yeah, I got smushed so quick. You played like Aether Flare into Tome of Aetherwind into Lesson in Lava on turn 0 and tutored up a Wildfire, and then didn't have an arsenal but just drew Wildfire for his turn. And then the next turn he just main phase played a Wildfire, an arsenal card, and I was like, oh, it's a second Wildfire. And then I went to fire a Judge, Jury, Executioner to just make him discard his hand, and he killed me in response. And I was like, all right, nice. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, you can have all the hate or whatever you want, but you only have a few turns to find it. So it's a tough question that he's asking for everybody.
One of the differences between something like him and a Bolton, where they're both like trying to pull off this combo, but like when you draw Lumina Ascension turn 0, it's not like, okay, I set it and my opponent dies next turn. You still have to like do more setup to make it live, right? You have to find the second one in your hand. You can't like go for it in the top 7 cards of your deck, right? By just like blind flipping. So yeah, I think the fact that the combo can be like pulled off so quickly is what makes it the most annoying to play against compared to other combo decks we've seen in Fab.
No.
My run was also ended by a Kano.
Was it?
But I was actually pretty satisfied with that game. We went like 5 or 6 rounds. I was Kasai, so like takes a while to get to lethal. I had some pretty bad early draws with like all reds, but it was back and forth. If I find a prevention effect, I think I win. And I had like 6 or 7 turns I didn't find it. Like I'm fine losing there. It just sitting down felt bad when I just lost to Tree Frog Dash, which is even more unbeatable, but is what it is.
Okay, and then our next little grouping here is going to be Bravo and Kasai, both with 20 wins. I mean, Kasai was probably pretty heavily played, so it was able, some people dodged their bad matchups and got wins, so that makes sense. Bravo is Bravo. I'm a little surprised how many wins it got, but people are going to play.
Yeah,
it.
again, I'm surprised he won 20 games.
Yeah.
Or any games, really.
Then we have Bolton and Azalea at 17, and Dash at 16, and Dorinthia at 13, and Levy at 13. That's kind of like the secondary group. These are just like not as played as much, but I think all of these decks are like fairly good.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised to see Dash so low. I feel like that's a deck that was pretty hyped up pre-heavy hitters, and then heavy hitters came out and everyone's kind of like,
yeah, it's like super
I don't
low
want to play with you anymore.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because like Dash is like super bad or like no one wants to play it. They're like bored of this deck. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she's a perfect angel.
One of the best builds of Dash literally has Titanium Bauble, the card in your deck, so not super excited.
I'm surprised to see Levia so low. 13 for Levia is... I feel like she's like
that's
one
like
more
shattering her record, I think, though, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's the best season she's ever
had.
had.
This is like groundbreaking for her.
Yeah, but she also got a crazy good demi hero that is like totally game warping or whatever. It's a whole new world for her.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's only like 2 Levias at every tournament. Like, there's not like it's like play rate is so low.
And one of them's gonna like miss on a dread streamer and then die immediately or something like that, at least once. So
Yep.
it does make sense.
Yeah, it can be a little tough. And then we have Prism at 10 wins, which I think should just like stop picking up wins once more people are starting to figure out how to play against her. And then the rest are, you know, in the small amounts. And just for you, Dan, Fi got 4 whole wins.
That's insane. Like, he's never been outside of like the top, 5 before for like an RTN ProQuest season.
Yeah, and he
Sad
got
times.
tenacity too, right?
And he got tenacity.
Yeah, but he also got balance of justice, so that's cool.
And he also got Victor,
Yeah,
just like a 0% matchup.
he's dead for now.
Sad days.
I'm sure he'll show up at Worlds and win somehow, or Pro Tour rather. But
He'll show up to Pro Tour, play
it's not looking good.
only Dromai, make top cut. It's possible if enough people brought him, there would be some people who topped because they would have that run, kind of like what we saw at Worlds.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think harder now, but
Harder now for sure.
possible.
Yep. Okay, so that is kind of wrapping up the RTN season. Overall, I think it was a great season. We have a whole bunch of decks that won, which I think is great. And then we're one step closer to Dromai going away. Let's get Dromai out of here so we can play the game again.
Yeah, she's done, right? Like
She's at 800 points.
Yeah, she'll be done, and then
pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
certainly by next national season, right?
Yeah, there's no way she lives through 2024.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming we have like our ProQuest season coming up, so assuming like picks up another 100 points there, right?
Yep. And then one nationals should do it.
Yep. Or a couple of smaller nationals as well. So she should be gone. And then the game can be played again.
Well, we'll see about that. We got new Illusionist coming out probably in part the Mistveil, so
We'll see.
potentially still a restriction on the amount of fun you can have.
Yeah, I guess there must be an illusionist if this one's like so. Oh no, we have Prism. We're fine. We don't need a new one.
I mean, we never needed any of them, but that's a separate topic.
No.
True.
I want old Prism back. I miss it. Okay. So to talk about the actual Battle Hardened weekend, we had Battle Hardened Philly. I think we had the Battle Hardened was like 160 players or something like that, which is pretty big for
Yeah, it was
Battle
sold out, I think.
Yep. And I know we all played in it. It was pretty fun. The top winner was an Azuri of all things. I believe it was Caleb on Azuri.
Yeah.
Top 8 ended up being 3 Dromai, 1 Kano, 1 Reinar, 2 Azuri, and then 1 Kasai. How did Azuri make it up there?
I tried my hardest, actually. I was his one loss in Swiss, I think. It was his build is pretty cool. He was playing almost no of like the switch cards. I think he just had like 9 blues of the stealth cards that you can use to actually resolve Azuri ability. He was focused more on the contract approach, which I think can catch a decent amount of people off guard if you're sideboarding, assuming that they're playing like a more red line aggro Azuri. The like fatigue strategy can kind of catch you sleeping. Actually, our game came down to both of us had 0 cards in deck, but I had enough of a life lead to where I could just like keep clawing and making him waste cards. But yeah, I think that build is a pretty solid matchup into probably not Dromai, but the Brutes and like Azalea, Katsu, Dash, I would assume that Azuri's doing pretty well. So just dodge the Dromais and you're fine.
It does have play into Warrior as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Which I think is good. Just not Kano and not Dromai.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then
Well, sometimes you can beat Kano, right? He did win the tournament.
sometimes Kano could beat himself.
Yeah, true.
3 Dromai, I think it's expected. Dromai not closing, I think is also expected. They just don't close.
Yep.
They just top everything and then don't win the tournament.
I thought Dromai was the deck to bring for this event. And I had it with me, but it wasn't updated at all. So I was just like, never going to have a chance in the mirror. And if I'm going to lose to Dromai, I might as well just play Warrior because I like it better.
Yeah, I mean, that was my run. Beat everything except for the mirror and then a Reinar. I don't know what it is about me playing Dromai, but if there is a Reinar in the room, I'm playing them. I played 2 Reinars at the PTI event, and then I played 1 Reinar at Battle Hardened, and then I just dropped it. I was like, okay, I'm out. Like, I don't need to play Reinars for the rest of the day. That deck's scary.
Yeah. Especially the Berserk version where you just like can literally get 40 out and have no agency.
Yeah, that was PTI event. That was the one that topped that, and that's like a true 0% for Dromai.
Yeah, Medax is so sweet. Just intiming 1 to 2 times a turn with good value.
Yeah, I played against that guy round 1 of the PTI event. The guy who ended up topping, I think Corey is his name. And I forget if it was a Wild Ride or a Medax, but he flipped a Beast Within off the top and banished Blood Rush, Berserk before hitting a card. So I was like, okay, I'm feeling pretty safe about this. Just like lost half the good cards in your deck and 4 life for no reason.
And you won that one?
Yeah, I won that match.
So you were like his only
Still just
loss.
barely won because the deck is silly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So he lost round 1 and then just like won out the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Exactly. I played him the last round of Swiss actually. After we were both locked for top 8, I beat him playing for seeding also. Well. But his deck kind of just like didn't. What did I do? I had like 2 red ledgers dominated in a row, and I was like, I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna win his Kano game. I was cheering for him. I just love that deck.
He was like
his deck is sick. It's
1
so
damage
cool. It's
away
so sick.
on his combo.
Literal
turn.
1 damage.
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah, Sandscape's Plan is one of the weirdest cards to see resolved. It's just like, I don't know, I assume something shady is going on. They just like slide a card from their deck into their hand. I don't know what's happening.
The fact that it's like the only card you don't have to reveal. You're like, you don't have to show them. You just take a card and put it in your hand.
Yeah, just trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that card's. It's like 75% of the time you win the game, 25% you lose. It's just like another Scabs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, card's very strong. I played him on my win in round, and I was very sad. Like, I sat down. I'd already beat a Reinar at the PTI event, and so I sat down. And I'm like, I'm playing Dromai. He's like, I'm playing Reinar. I'm like, okay, gonna be hard, but let's do it again. And then he just flips over Medax, and I immediately just go, oh, this is like a 0% matchup. There's like no chance here. And we both,
and that's the meta.
Like, it was like halfway through the game, and I was like, I have no chance to win. He's like, yeah, you have no chance to win. And I'm like, I'm well aware this matchup real bad. But that was cool to see.
Yeah, I liked his style on stream. He like really knew what he was doing, like very well.
Yeah, he's got like the pimped out deck too. I think he had like Alpha Foil, Blood Rushes, just like everything maxed. So
yeah, I wish I got more stream time. I want to see more of him playing that deck.
He's like from my area, or like within an hour or so, and so he just started showing up to our armories and just started berserking everyone before even Heavy Hitters came out. And like, the first time I played against him, he just did like 30'd me or something, and I was like, uh-oh. And then when he's like, hey, I was like, how's Heavy Hitters going to be? He's like, if I just get a card to replace Yellow Wrecker Romp, my deck will be busted. And I think he got Assault and Battery or something, but there's so many.
Yeah, now he's got Agile Windups. I mean, the windups are huge for that deck, right? Letting you go wide.
So good.
Is he the one that won in Artian, or was that someone else? I know there's a Berserk. Or I know that one, I think, last week.
Probably, yeah. He's pretty good.
Nice.
Oh, it's even worse with the wind-ups, because he'll be like, card, int him on the stack, respond, wind up, take another card out of your hand, take it. Like, it's just like, can you not, please?
Yeah. You can play the hat too if you want to go crazy. Take the whole hand.
Yep. And then, so the winner of the Battle Hardened was Zuri. We had a Kano in the finals, which the Kano should have won, but there was a bit of a miscount of resources, and so a misplay because of that. And then because how the rewind rule works is that it goes back to the last legal play that you made. So it rewound to the fact that he had paid a resource for Metacarpus nodes that he technically didn't have, because he was saving one for another attack. But since he could legally do that, he had to spend his resource, and he couldn't close out the game. So we ended up having a Zuri win, which is sad because we need more Kano points, right? And then that was the Battle Hardened. And then we had PTI. And I have to say this. For the people who don't go to the PTI event, the PTI event is a whole different world. It's like, so, because there's no ELO at PTI events. And often the only people who are like at it are like some locals, and then like whatever like professional players traveled. So it's like super dense of like good players, but they're all playing garbage decks for the most part. Like, I mean, like Dan's bringing Betsy, like you're like Mara is playing Dash IO.
Kind of saved my weekend with that bet. I was having a terrible time until I played that thing.
Mara's playing Dash IO, like, you know, not Dromai. Like, it's just like, it's like an experimental phase where like you just walk around and you see people just playing the craziest stuff that you've never seen them play before. So if you're going to a Battle Hardened, you should play in the PTI event just simply because it's fun and you're going to see people playing decks that you wouldn't expect them to be playing.
Yeah, and a good chance to spike. Like,
Yeah, if you bring a real deck,
people are not trying that hard.
People are
at
not
PTI
trying, no.
until like the end.
In that one, the top ended up being 2 Dromai, 1 Reinar, the Reinar we just talked about, the Berserk one, 2 Kano, 1 Azalea, which is Mr. Connor over there, a Kasai, and then we have KO, which is Mr. Noah over there. And then we got to see on stream you beat a Kasai, which is, well, supposed to be a hard matchup for you. So what happened?
Yeah.
How'd you win?
I just think his deck configuration was not such that he could beat KO. Like, I don't think he was playing Slice and Dice. That's one of like the scary cards, just like 0 for 4 that blocks 3. Pretty good card. And I just had some solid turns where once he starts full blocking, he can't reset dynamos. Then I just kind of like snowball from there. And like I was saying earlier, we had played in Swiss of the Battle Hardened the day before. I think it was round 8, so neither one of us had a chance to actually top because we were both X2 at that point, but we were, still playing for those valuable tickets. And so he'd already like seen most of my deck, so I think he kind of knew the strategy. But he didn't like make adjustments to his list in between the days to try to make it have a better KO matchup. I did lose to a Kasai in a different round where he employed a different strategy where he was playing those like slice and dices and not blocking as much, just kind of like using the fridge where appropriate, pushing my life total down super low. And then, I mean, as you know, you played Kasai too, Dan, right? Once the opponent gets super low, they have to like overblock, and then they're blocking on sabers.
Yeah, once they're
giving you
blocking
more
every
value.
turn, like the game's
Yeah,
unlocked.
the game's just over.
Did
So yeah,
the Kasai that you lose against have a real helmet?
yeah, he had a helmet worth 5 value instead of 0.
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
a little bit of a difference.
no. Play the gold helmet. Everyone, all Kasais play gold helmet instead. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yep. You get to do more things, right? You get to put a helmet and a gold, so it's better.
Yeah. Cash-in's online right away.
Yeah, exactly.
See, you can raise an army halfway through the game. It's definitely better. Okay, and then we saw 2 Kanos in the finals of the PTI event because Kano's not a problem.
So you're saying Kano should have won both events?
Kano should have won both events.
But he did so bad in week 2 of RTI. How is that possible?
Yeah, nothing to worry about, right? There was 2 finals that weekend, and 3 of them had Kano. There were 3 Kanos in the finals. I thought the finals match was pretty good. I was a little surprised at the ending because both players are very well known for playing Kano. But I thought it was at least entertaining to watch. Like the Kano, like I've said this a million times, the Kano mirror is the most fun match for Kano to play. Like both players are actually enjoying the match for the most part. That's the only time anyone's ever enjoying a Kano match, unless your name is Prism. Then you're really enjoying the match. But that was won by Majin Bey, who I think has picked up a couple of these PTI events under his belt so far. But overall, what did you think of the terrible tables at the venue and the experience overall at the Battle Hardened this weekend?
This was the first, I think, Flesh and Blood event where I had a bad time. Only on Saturday, though. I was like feeling kind of unwell. I think my allergies were like super triggered, and I was like tired from sleeping on a couch and not sleeping enough. And I didn't like the deck I was playing. But after that, I had a great time. We had a very nice Brazilian steakhouse dinner, and then Sunday, I'm like, all right, I think at the end of the day, I was like doing like, I don't want to play either of these decks. I might just go home. And Connor was like, I have a Betsy deck, and I said yes. I have something to do tomorrow. And I had a great time playing. I only played 2 rounds because I lost both of them, which was fine. I had no intentions of topping. I was always going to go home early. I had stuff to do. But I had a great time those 2 games. I learned how to play against Dromai. I think I maybe should have won that game if I was a better Betsy. It seems like a good matchup for her. My opponent definitely outplayed me, though. I tried to Betsy a Spinal without wagering and then realized I can't do that. I realized before I cast it, but it was like too late because I already blocked my bet big. But no, I had a lot of fun. And then I played my buddy Tommy Fresh, my nemesis. He beat me bad with the Riptide. I saw his name on the phone pairing, and I was like, I've never played this deck, but I feel like Riptide's a terrible matchup for Betsy, and it was. It was like I can't do anything. Like he's got traps to deal damage, he's got traps to stop my overpower. It was a nightmare. But I had a bad day and then a fun day and a fun night.
Great. Connor, how was overall? How did you enjoy everything? Good
It
with
was
the bad?
fun. Yeah, Saturday was a weird day. I played against Fatigue Dash or Tree Frog Dash round 1 on Azalea and played like a super sweaty 45-minute, like going to Fatigue, super tight game. I ended up losing though, and then I got smushed the next round and then smushed. So I was like 0-3 immediately. And I was just like, all right, we're just here to hang. I don't know why though. The tables were like 4 inches not wide enough to fit 2 playmats. But I will say the cooperation that I saw between players trying to like overlap our mats so we both can have our stuff on play, it was beautiful. I was like, we really came together as a community to overcome these nightmare tables. But yeah, that was fun. And then got through Saturday. Brazilian Steakhouse was incredible. And then on Sunday, the PTI was pretty fun. Just, like had a hot start. I was like 4-0, and then I played against Matt Rogers, and then won my last one against a Victor in a super tight match to make top 8, and it was fun. I mean, I love, I don't know why, the Valley Forge Casino and Resort, 10 out of 10 every time. Love that place.
Oh, dude, I hate that place.
I like being in the
Yeah,
basement.
It's like a
I'm so low on it now. The tables,
such a
like,
weird
there's no
environment.
windows. Was it Noah? Someone put it out. I think it was Noah.
yeah.
I was like, why do I feel as terrible as I do right now? And I was like, because there's no windows. You haven't been outside in like 12 hours. I was like, wait, I think you're right.
Yeah, we don't know if it's night, day, rain, shine. Who knows?
See, that helps me. I was a Magic Online gamer for so many years. I thrive in the basement. It's where I was molded. But yeah, it was a fun weekend. Good time.
Yeah, I echo the sentiment of Brazilian Steakhouse being nice. I tend to do the Cody strat of like not eating all day, so like being able to just eat like 3 days worth of calories in one meal at the end was quite nice. And I don't know, I feel like tournaments you're always having a better time when you're winning. So turn 2 against my Dash IO opponent in round 2, I literally presented lethal, like 36 damage with just like 2 beasts within discards on one turn, just like ignorant brute stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm I'm already having a lot of fun. And then yeah, getting to play on stream. I haven't been able to play on stream in a little while. I think the last time I played on stream was against Michael Fang with Icelander versus Oldham. So yeah, quite a long
You've
time
been at
ago.
the top
So,
a lot, like last year. I remember before you joined
yeah,
the team, you were always like at the top tables with like a
yeah,
couple rounds to go.
yeah, yeah. I was a Icelander gamer, so I just like have been struggling trying to find a home since then. Tried like every deck. I think KO is probably the one. I mean, the playstyle is nowhere near Icelander, but still works for me. That's why I'm kind of like I was messaging with Majin after he won. I was like, all right, you've done a good deed, because the more points Kano gets towards LL, the more chances we have of getting Icelander 2.0. So I'm sort of on the low key rooting for Kano to do well, since then LSS. I mean, we can't have a format with 0 wizards, so
I mean, we can.
hopefully if Kano out.
We definitely
We
could.
definitely could.
For sure.
Yeah, I just don't think they would do that.
They should.
Um,
Or make a different
Yeah,
type
just
of
like a
wizard.
season or 2 or a year.
yeah,
I've had enough wizards for a while, and I played a wizard for a while. Overall, the weekend I thought was good. I think we really LSS should do a second look at battle hardened pricing. It's a little low. I mean, it's hard to complain because like the rest of the pricing that we have in the game is just phenomenal. So like we have all, we have 2 pro tours, we have a worlds, like we have nationals, we have some callings. But the battle hardens are kind of like, we're getting beat by like Lorcana at these SCG cons. Like you gotta, it's just like, it kind of hurts advertising a little bit when you're like at an SCG con where there's like a bunch of different games being played, and we have like this, we have some of the most players there for like one event, and then we have like the lowest pricing there out of everyone else, because like Magic has better pricing, which is like whatever, and then that's provided by SCG Con and as well, and then like Lorcana is sitting over there with like $1,500 the first, and like cash payouts are like way nicer. So I think they should relook at it a little bit on the battle hardened circuit. maybe something in between what we have now in a calling, not as big as that, but like somewhere in between there. And maybe it would be like worth traveling out to these events more as well.
Yeah. There's also the aspect of scaling pricing based on attendance too, right? Like
Yeah.
you were saying, this is a relatively large battle hardened, whereas some are only like 50, 60 people, or maybe the pricing makes more sense there.
Hey,
but with 160, I
we
think
we has Cat.
we have a fifth member of the cast.
My favorite
Yeah, it's
guest.
been a complaint forever, right?
Oh, actually, wait.
That
I have
happens.
one thing that was super negative about this weekend. Now that the cat's here, it reminded me.
Is it the
I
rain?
was dying with allergies because I stayed with Connor, and I'm just like sneezing. Eyes are watering. I have no idea what's going on. Connor's like, are you by chance allergic to cats? I was like, oh, you've ruined me. You poisoned the room with all this cat dandruff. I'm dying. Got no sleep, but
Yep, that would ruin
clearly
me too.
sleep was not needed.
I felt so bad, and I was like, "No, they are cute cats," and he was like, he didn't even care. It was really messed up of him. I didn't get it.
I will say, it's tough because like we paid $80 for the weekend total, and it's like you just get some tickets, and then like, did the people in the Top Cut even get to spend their tickets? Because like they were like announcing that they were closing like in the middle of the like.
Yeah, I think the finalists probably did not.
So that's like you get the most tickets there, and you just like can't even use them.
Yeah.
I mean, you top Ford, and you got what, like $20 worth of tickets.
Yeah, I got like 800 tickets. I cashed in my tickets from both Saturday and Sunday so yeah, it was 1,300 total. Yeah, it was 500 for, I got 13th on Saturday. So yeah, 500 for that. And then 800 for top 4. So I was able to get cold foil agility so I can run fast in style. And then the 2 yellow pulpings that Dan graciously lent me, I upgraded to the full art foil ones.
So there's no cash for PTI, is that right?
No.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just,
that's rough.
it's
Yeah,
literally
the
just
one,
first place or bust.
I think I've only done like 1 or 2, and the one I did, it was hosted by MinMax, and they put up cash, which was super nice. Wait, that's terrible with how many people are there if there's no cash on the line.
Yeah, they just collect
Yeah.
$30 from everyone, and
Yeah.
they have to outpay nothing. So I think it needs to be looked at a little bit, especially if we're getting 160 people at like the current pricing level. It would be way better if we could, get a little bit more. I mean, I'd be willing to travel to more Battle Hardens if like the pricing was real. But right now it's just like get first place or lose a bunch of money, right?
Yeah. I do think from their perspective, like attendance is great.
Mhm.
Like, why invest more if people are doing it?
Yeah, that's fair.
Could be better.
I think they should though.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump over to some podcast questions that we have here. So these questions are asked by members of our premium Discord. If you would like to be able to ask questions on the podcast or see tournament reports or find other people who are trying to take the game a little seriously that you can practice with, and watch videos that we put out every month, then feel free to join the premium Discord, and the link will be in the show notes below. But our first question, if I can find it here, it's eluding me right now. There we go. Okay, first question is going to be from Pappy. It says, have you tried growing the Fab community in your local store? What have you done, or what have people in your store done? And how is your local scene currently going? It's more of the question.
Yeah, I don't know the formula to like starting a scene. I can't really help there. But if you've had players coming in and out, the one thing I can say that I've seen other people do, I'm going to shout out Michael Dalton from our team and Joe Quietek. Basically, the two of them at different times. They just post every week. Like the store makes a post, but they also say like, "Hey, we're doing this event this week. Who's coming?" And just like having someone confirming that they will be there and like asking who else will be there just makes all the difference, because now you have like some trust that you get to play Flesh and Blood if you show up. That's all I got. Like we've gone through dead patches where like our scene was like not firing for a couple of weeks, but anytime that those two like kind of stepped up and just made a Facebook post every week, we've had like consistent attendance for the past like few months.
A good one. I know we personally have like a secondary Discord that most of the people in the locals are in as well. And then I just show up every week. Like, it's my job. I just like, if it's a week that I am not at a major, I will just be at locals, and I just make sure that I do that. Because I think it's good for the game to have people who you can count on to always be there.
Yeah.
You
just need like 2 people that you know are there every week.
Yeah. And we've never not had anything fire. We basically bounce between, at our low point, like 6 people up to like 15 every week. It's just like fluctuates depending on who's available, who's around. We have another store that's like, they're like 45 minutes apart. So one of the stores only runs armories like every other week. So some of the people are more local to that store. They go to that store every other week, and then every other week to our store. So we just see our numbers, go up and down. A little bit of growth here and there, but nothing crazy locally anyway. But to be fair, they just keep throwing more games on Thursday night. I'm sure we'd have more people if not every single store ran Flesh and Blood on Thursday night, because there are 2 other stores around me that I could travel to, but they also have Flesh and Blood on Thursday night. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
something that my scene's gotten really good at is people are really excited to like lend decks a lot to any new players. New people will come in and they'll be like, "What hero should I play? What should I build?" And it's like, dude, for a month we'll cover you. Like whatever you want to build, just let us know a couple days ahead. Someone will bring an extra deck for you. I think that's like the best way to set the hook on somebody, get them excited about the game, get them into it, let them make sure they like it before they start making a big investment.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have too much to add here. My closest local store is like 30 minutes away. So if there's ever a time where there's like 2 weekends in a row where I'm not traveling to play in like RTN, ProQuest, Battle Hardened, whatever, then I'll go out to the locals, and I'm always like Connor said, if anybody needs to borrow cards for any major, like, I don't know, that's like one of the worst kind of things, like feels bads in card games. It's like, oh, I really want to play this deck, but I don't have access to the cards. So that's one thing that I always try to make sure that people in the local community, if they need stuff for an event, that I'm always down to let people borrow stuff.
Next question from Millen here is, what are your opinions about the Blitz format? Is there a way to make it better?
So quick opinion, when I was testing for the Realm Cruise, which was canceled, the Blitz event, I was actually having a lot of fun exploring the Blitz format. Like, I don't care at all about Blitz because there's no event, but if there's an event, I would be excited to spend some time figuring it out, as long as it's not like distracting from a PT that's in a couple weeks or something. I don't know what the issues are or how to fix it though.
I do not play Blitz. If I was going to spend time on a different format, I would go play LL. I don't see any reason to play Blitz personally.
Yeah. I think the introduction of LL kind of neutered the want of people to play Blitz, because it's
maybe
like
that's the fix. Get rid of LL.
No,
I don't know about that.
Get rid of Blitz.
I think Blitz is good. I mean, it is fun to play shorter games. I wish that it catered to new players a little bit better, because new players a lot of times just like want to play their cards, and in Blitz you get like one chance to play your cards, and then the rest of the time your life total's under pressure. I think it's a really fun format on Talishar, though. I really enjoy playing like 5-minute games and just spinning the wheel and just doing it again and again. For a weekly armory where you have to drive and that's your one thing you're doing that night, it's a little bit less fun, but at least the armory is like quick and done pretty quickly, and you get home at a good time. But I think it has to have a place in the like environment for the game. But if you want to play 30-minute rounds, I think you should just draft. Draft is a way more enjoyable experience in that similar kind of range. So I think
The
draft
other
is
thing
good.
too that's kind of weird about Blitz is if it's introed as a new player format, but you can still play like all the expensive cards, right? It's not common, or you can still have like a legendary equipment, majestics in your deck. It kind of defeats the point of being new player friendly, because you're still going to get stomped if you show up with like a deck made with bulk commons and rares.
I think it's worse
I
than
think-
that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I hate that it's touted as a new player friendly format. I think
it should be.
it's anti new player friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
It is not Flesh and Blood. The games are like 2 rounds long. Sometimes it's
You
longer.
just lose if you don't have legendary equipment. in
You
your
just
opponent
immediately
Yeah,
lose if you don't have good equipment. CC's pretty close to the same that way as well. But it's also just like not how the game is played. Like, you just have to keep blocking and then playing your thing, and one big power turn and the game is over for the most part. Like, it's just like, it's like the Yu-Gi-Oh equivalent of our game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not Flesh and Blood, right? Like, it's
No, it should be viewed as like an alternative format, and I think that's what they're doing, right? Like they're putting out a new CC product. They announced like starter decks or pre-built.
Yep.
Like CC should be the intro to the game for sure, and then everything else is like alternative formats.
agreed. Okay. Fighting Walloon asks, imagine there will be a game at Pro Tour LA. You have to pick one deck and one player to play the deck against an unknown opponent in an unknown deck. If your champion loses, you die. What deck do you pick, and who do you pick to play it? You can't pick yourself.
I thought about this in advance when I saw that question. It's easy for me. I'm either picking Cody on chain because I trust.
Oh, you don't have to choose something legal right now?
That's not what it asks.
It
Like,
didn't
they're
specify.
talking about this upcoming Pro Tour.
Yeah, I have like enormous trust in Cody to play that deck very well and to protect my life with that deck. Or I would pick UNG playing Blitz combo Viserai because he doesn't know. It's not possible for him to lose if he's playing that.
Not a bad pick. I would probably just pick. I mean, it depends what format we're talking about. There's a couple of good
Pick
picks
the
here.
format.
I would pick like I'd be very comfortable picking Michael Fang and like old him. Like I would feel feel very good about that pick. Because the deck's like good, it's solid, and he's just like an expert at the deck. I would feel pretty good about Fino on Prism, depending on the meta, but I would probably not pick that because there's too many polarizing matchups. If we're talking about like current meta right now, I don't know about that one.
Oh.
None of them. It just like
One of the Kanos maybe. Roll the
one of the
dice.
Kanos, Majin Bay and Kano. Let's go. Like, help me out here, please.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
This format. No, I'm taking the combo runner guy all day.
You're really risking your life on Berserk combo.
Berserk. Let's go.
Go for it. I'll take Charles Dunn. Give me Charles Dunn on Starvo.
That's also a good
Hope
one.
I get to see another day.
Yeah.
Not Lucas.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was mine. I was gonna pick Lucas on Lexi if we're going with like old.
Oh, I meant Lucas on Starvo. He's the champ, no?
They did
okay. I
play
don't
in
know.
the finals,
He
right?
talked the most smack of anybody about how good he was at Lexi. So I guess if I die, then he.
They're
knows
gonna say
he has
like
himself
rub
to
it in his
blame.
face.
Yeah.
On the way out.
I guess I just want an adult representing me.
That's fair.
Reasonable.
Okay. Rio asks, will Dromai rotate this year, which we talked about? If she does, do heroes like Bolton Kasai step up?
Yeah, she's like for sure dead national season if she doesn't win the Pro Tour.
Yep, she's dead.
Yeah, I think yeah, the Warriors for sure gain a lot by her leaving.
Yeah, meta changed quite a bit. Yeah, all the Warriors go up.
All the like, it's funny enough to say, like Arachne goes up.
You get more sideboard slots.
Like Arachne is a good deck. It's just like you have too many zero matchups, and like removing one of your zero matchups makes that deck like a little bit better. Like as like a
Yeah, like a
tournament
bunch
pick.
of unplayable decks become playable.
Yeah,
So you have
I
to
think
like readjust.
it's also good for new players too, because I feel like one of the biggest struggles is if you're like a new player learning the game and you see like a net decked list that has like all these weird high attack cards. Sometimes people just like shove them in their deck and play like 68 cards, or sometimes people are like taking out the wrong cards to put in poppers. So I think
Yeah.
Dromai or Illusionist in general not being a part of the meta would help your actual like game plan be more consistent for basically any deck you're playing.
We can tech for Kano with those sideboard slots.
Yeah, I think letting these kind of like slow blocking decks not get totally crushed by a really good setup deck in Dromai, I think that would change a lot of the format. And like I think the games might become more fatigue oriented. Like the format would become way more like mid range and grindy.
Teklo goes to the moon.
Teklo to the moon, Riptide to the moon. So many of these decks that everyone's like, if only.
Yep, they're allowed to have like one bad or two bad matchups at most, but they can't also then have Dromai that's like the most played deck as bad. That's the real issue.
Most played deck.
If like
Worst
if there was only like
matchup.
5 Dromai at every event, like no one would care. But the fact that like Dromai's like been one of the highly played decks for like a year now is like these decks just can't show up. Okay. Next is going to be Clads. He asks, is it okay to draft single class cards from multiple classes early in pack 1 to hedge bets? Yeah, it's okay to draft however you want, to be fair.
Yeah, if you want to just take the highest quality card, I think it's a good strategy.
If you want to pick the highest the best common in every single pack and just like chaos draft, you can absolutely do that. Your signals are going to be
Probably
hilarious.
just have like a, yeah, I would have like a range in mind of when you're going to commit though, like whether it's between picks 4 and 6 or 6 and 8 or something like that. Don't do it for the whole first pack, obviously.
That would be absolute chaos. You're like, I'm gonna take this warrior card, and the next pack, you're like, I'm gonna take this brute card. The person next to you is like, what is happening with these comments?
I did that at the Archie for draft. I finally committed to Reinar, like pick 12 or 13.
How did the person to your left do? Did they train wreck? Or did they have a good deck?
I don't know. I don't remember. But my deck was like perfectly playable. I was so proud of that deck.
Yeah, I think this format in comparison to Bright Lights is like not as fatigue oriented necessarily. So you're totally fine playing a lean like 30 to 32 card deck.
Okay.
You're less punished by wasting picks.
Next, we have Siphon, and he is asking, what do you think in theory should be the best deck in Fab based on card pool? He gives the example that if you look at in a vacuum Teklo's card pool, it's kind of busted, but that hero obviously isn't busted yet. What other heroes do you think kind of fall in that, where their card pool is just better than the hero? I think that one's tough.
Maybe
I think Teklo is a good answer.
Yeah.
I do too. I mean, Levia's cards are bonkers, but they say
But she's
Blood
good.
So maybe not, but she is good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Riptide as well. If we're talking about like bottom tier, like
oh yeah.
his
Ranger
cards
card pool
on
is
paper
bananas.
are like crazy, right? He has like Pitfall Trap, it's like a 0 for 6, right?
Mhm.
It's just like pretty solid card. But
I think Riptide's pretty good though.
He has codexes.
yeah, he's pretty good, but like his card pool suggests that he could be kind of insane.
Oh, his health total is just nonsense.
I wonder if Ranger, if it wasn't about a different hero but a different bow, if you had some kind of like bow with Joe again, just opening Lexi up like that kind of play style again. Because right now it's very like one shot per turn with your Death Dealer or whatever, barring like bolt and shot shenanigans. So Ranger I think would be my pick.
Yeah, I think if you want a super outside the box answer is like we were talking about Blitz earlier, like Shiana, like the shapeshifter kind of thing. She got like insane cards. It's always just something I think about. Like, what if Fab had kind of this, shapeshifter as like an actual format, and like Shiana having like these specialization, basically from heavy hitters, she gained like 10 new cards. So that'd be kind of a cool hero.
Agreed. Okay, Mike at Blockout Party says, how will Pro Tour Day 1 metagame differ from the RTN final results? So,
meaning like what shows up?
Yeah.
You think?
I think way less Victor.
What differ? I don't.
I do.
I think people are on the Victor cope.
Dude, I haven't seen a Victor in the wild in like a week. There's just like no Victors. So I just, unless it's like the hidden deck, like it's like people are like, I don't want to show my Victor deck off. But I just think like, no, there's not going to be very many Victors.
Yeah. And we don't really know the RTN meta, right? Unless he's just talking about like.
We just talk about like the winning decks. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't know the meta, and you can't always take the winning decks, like kind of with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, then I agree. I think, despite what I'm hearing other people say, I think Guardian representation is going to be quite low. And I think everything else is going to be up.
Dromai up,
but otherwise
KO
kind of matching, I think.
I think Kano will be higher than people think it will be, personally.
Yeah, I think Kano will be pretty high.
I think we're going to see people who you've never seen play Kano before all of a sudden start playing Kano at this event.
Yeah, they've just been in
I think we see a bunch of Katsus
for the past 2 months.
I think Katsus just show up in Europe, and some of the international teams are just going to bring the ninja.
It'll just be like Team Poland with all Katsu. All something.
Yeah, surely they're playing Katsu. Surely some other non-North American teams are playing Katsu. We don't seem to like him here.
The Hong Kong guys, I think, are big
Blue Pitch.
Katsu fans.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I do want to shout out Mike at this guy asking the question. He makes awesome YouTube videos at Blockout Party. Check those out.
Yep.
Very good.
Speaking of shout outs, can we plug the podcast we did, Cody?
Oh, the one we did with Flake? Instant Speed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came.
Yeah, if you catch the latest. There you go.
I was going to say it came out last week. It was myself, Dan, and Yuanji answering a bunch of questions about how do teams function. What is it like to be on a team, and what do we think about the future of teams existing? I thought it was a lot of fun. I think we had a lot of good questions and good answers there. And then I also thought the little Patreon exclusive thing we did afterwards for him was pretty fun as well.
Yeah, check it out. We also go over how the Runaways got started.
Yep. Spoiler alert, Saint did not found Runaways.
Despite what some graphics might claim.
Yeah. And then we have a Jutester here asking, how do you beat KO on Dromai? And that's the secret, right?
There's video
my
evidence of me losing to Dromai. So study that game, I guess. Do that over and over, and you'll win.
Yeah, I understand there's two schools of thoughts. You either play defensive and try to like outlast and chip, or you play offensive and you slam tomes and make them deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the community is not on the same page as to which is better or if any works at all. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah. And I think just playing the game like super greedy and like just hoping that you can generate the ash you need for that turn, like on that turn, is probably the thing that's scariest. But who knows? Dromai players are always innovating new ways of playing. So
yeah, I'm sure someone's got a good plan.
Well, next week is Pro Tour, so which is pretty exciting.
Oh,
It feels like it's been pretty quick, I will say, even though we've been, I think, doing this for a while. I think are we all getting in on Wednesday? Is that kind of how we're doing it? I did see that MinMax Games put out an invite for teams to come play CC on Wednesday. Players come play, and then see whoever won. I know I can't be there. I mean, I don't get into Wednesday night. I think, Dan, you don't get into Wednesday.
Yeah, that's also just not how I'm willing to spend my time before the Pro Tour.
True.
Like, I'd be all about this event if it was
After the Pro Tour?
anytime except for right before the Pro Tour.
I'm not going to play my CC deck against the other, like, teams. They're just not going to do it. Like,
no, I'm not going to play a different deck.
I'm not going to play a
because I need
different
to be,
deck.
like,
Exactly.
resting or prepping with Cody and the guys. Like,
I like the idea. I appreciate the effort. I just like
and the invite.
in the invite. I think if someone on our team wants to go, I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
Right? Like they go collect your
That'd be
free
sweet.
box or whatever it is that you get for participating. And then hopefully you do well. But like, I'm not going to play my Pro Tour deck the day before Pro Tour. Like, it's just not, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I barely want to play Flesh and Blood the day before Pro Tour.
Yeah. A good idea. I will be curious to see, how many people they actually get. I like the effort though. Like, so, can't rag on it too hard. But I think that is all for us today. We will see you guys next week. We'll still have a podcast, even if we are going to be going to Pro Tour. We will do it right beforehand and drop it while we're on planes, I guess. So see you guys. Have a good week.
Yeah, we're getting rid of the envelope here, but
What we could do here is go ahead and play the envelope.
All three pitches of Envelope and Darkness.